Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 699 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. Yesterday, Russia conducted a large-scale missile attack against different regions of the country. The General Staff of Ukraine informed that 44 missiles of various types were used, 22 of them were downed by the air defense. President Volodymyr Zelensky said in his evening video address that more than 200 various objects were damaged, 139 of them are houses. 130 people were wounded or injured and 18 people were killed. In particular, in Kharkiv, at least 8 people were killed, including an 8-year-old girl whose body was found under the rubble, reports Suspilne. Later yesterday, Russian forces targeted Kharkiv 2 more times. In the result, at least 9 people were wounded, including a 4-year-old child. At least 22 people were wounded in the morning attack in Kyiv, where remnants of the missile hit buildings in different districts. An unexploded warhead of a Ha-101 missile was found in one of the apartments and safely disposed of. 3 people were also killed yesterday in aerial strikes of Russian warplanes in the Kherson region. Volodymyr Zelensky thanked the entire team of the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, everyone who works to save lives and help after the attacks. He stressed that Russia is a typical terrorist who targets ordinary life. The president stressed that Moscow should know that the Ukrainian character is capable of being long-range enough to retaliate. Quote, "The Russian war will inevitably be brought back home, back to where the evil came from, where it must be quelled. Right there in Russia. I thank everyone who ensures that the logistics of the terrorist state, the infrastructure, and the Russian state itself feel the true cost of war." Unquote. We would really appreciate if you could rate us, ideally with 5 stars, and leave a glowing review in the apps where you are listening to this podcast: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and others. This really helps more people to find out about the highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. The contact group for the defense of Ukraine in the Ramstein format met yesterday, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Ukrainian Defense Minister Rustem Umerov said at the start of the meeting that it costs Russia 400 soldiers to capture each square kilometer of Ukrainian territory. However, the enemy has limitless mobilizing resources. Russia also used 6 times more artillery shells than Ukrainian forces and actually only occupied the settlements of Bakhmut and Marinka within the last year. He believes the Russian forces can be outwitted by integrating technologies and coordinating actions. At the first Ramstein meeting in 2024, Umerov stated that Ukraine's leadership had established clear military tasks and goals for 2024, and that the Ministry of Defense and the General Staff of the Armed Forces had developed priorities for the current year. The minister stated that adequate equipment and ammunition, as well as maintenance and spare parts, are required to maintain the front line. But a breakthrough will necessitate innovation and significant technological progress. Russia tried a new tactic to find flaws in Ukraine's air defense system. It launched nearly twice as many missiles and about 30% more Shahed unmanned aerial vehicles. However, Umerov stressed that the effectiveness of Ukrainian air defense against Russian missile attacks has increased by a third. Ukraine's defense minister informed that Russia had invested in the production of first-person view drones and that its potential in this area has already exceeded Ukraine's capacity. The Defense Ministry of Ukraine informed that at the Ramstein Group meeting, Kyiv's allies assured further military support, including long-range weapons. So far, Canada announced a new package of military assistance to Kyiv and the involvement of Canadian instructors in training Ukrainian pilots on F-16 fighter jets, while Germany will provide military helicopters for the first time. The Ramstein format, also known as Ukraine Defense Contact Group, unites defense ministers and other high-level officials from over 50 countries that provide military support to Ukraine or consider doing so. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just 2 people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.